Hi, Paul Hefty here. I want to talk about the Triangle no huddle design, what way and how we use these RPOs in this no huddle system. So first off, to simplify everything and with the play calling, there's three key components here. We're going to use what's called triangles, or 3 plays every time you go up to call the one, and then have built-in blitz beaters. The idea here is instead of having one play in mind when you're calling plays with each set, is you're going to go up with the idea of looking at the defense with 3 plays in mind that complement each other, and then you'll pick the one that best attacks that defense at that time. Second thing we'll do is we'll use a chunking memory technique. It's a process of taking little bits of information and putting it all together into larger units. Basically what we are going to be able to do is one word communication will say a lot of different things. And then last in your teaching, we'll use a scaffolding process. That's where each concept builds upon the next. So it's the idea that we're going to have really 4 core concepts, and then we'll build upon those, but we can always go back to those core concepts to keep it simple. What I'm going to go through here are the 6 steps then of how to evolve or the process and design your system using the Triangle football system. First off, before we get into the steps, it is all about people. There are no magic plays. So with this system, we want to put our players in a position to fit your play calling. First off, the H-back in the center are key people in this whole thing. So we want to take people that have obviously a high skill set, but a good football IQ at those 2 positions. Your X and your A, and you'll see it when I show formations, need to be your best receivers. I prefer a quarterback that's a passer over a runner. Ideally, it is a true dual threat, but they have to be able to make these RPO run-pass option reads. Again, then obviously you need depth at that center, halfback, and quarterback to keep the system intact. And then last, we can protect your guards using personnel this way. Your center and your tackles kind of sandwich that and can protect them that way. When we get into step 1, the first thing is let's get our alignments and tempos. We're going to keep it simple because you're going to install everything by a 2x2 set, and then we'll progress to a 3x1. But you can do the same things, same core concepts out of either. Second thing is we're going to make the directional call for the formation to the 2 receivers, which are A and Z. And the reason we'll do that is we want to think about always calling the formation strength to the wide side of the field so we get horizontal stretch of the defense. The next key component here, I'm going to skip right down, is number 5, how you do tempo. It's important that you teach the tempo fast. We call it our supersonic tempo, where we call the formation, call the play right away. The reason for that is research shows that players will adapt to whatever the first tempo you teach or what is taught. That becomes the norm. So be patient. It's going to look a little messy at first, but again, you'll establish that tempo. And this is one of the reasons we don't want to run a lot of different plays, but we'll do a couple core concepts and get those down, but we can go fast. So here's a look at it, starting with the people. This is your ace right formation. Again, the A and the Z will go to the wide side of the field to get that horizontal stretch. X and H are into the boundary. We'll start with the B back in the pistol, and then he'll shift to the sidecar alignment for the play call. Again, center needs to be key, your tackles, and then we can protect the guards there. This is how we keep it simple then. By going to a 3x1 set, there's only one person that moves. And again, we talked about your H-back having a high skill set, but also a high football IQ. He's the only one who has to change when we go to our trips right formation. Everything else stays the same. Step 2 is really get in how you teach things. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So we want to start with RPOs as our foundation for communication. Real simple. You want to make the most complex the core, and that way we can add tags to other pieces. I always like this comment, saying nothing should mean something. So we're going to start out with one core play concept for our blocking, but also then we're going to run routes, the most complex, and we can kind of do everything. We're going to verbalize the calls for the linemen and keep that very simple because they have to most of the process, and then we'll chunk together those other bits with signals to the skills people. Step 2 is very important. You keep balance between your inside and outside RPOs. You don't just become a one dimensional type of offense, inside or outside. So we like to start with our inside RPO, which is based around power, backside guard pulling and leading, and then our counter trade, where the backside guard and the halfback or the H-back pull, kick out, and then lead through. Great complement to each other. It's a natural counter to the power. And then the complement is our outside run RPO, which is a pin and pull sweep. It's an old wing T sweep where the other convert linemen are going to pull, and we're going to go ahead and pin on that front side with the H, typically the tackle. The third thing we can do, again, I said there were built-in blitz beaters, is anytime we can take our RPOs where the run is the priority, we tell the quarterback when in doubt, give, is we can do an alert call which tells the quarterback now we want to reverse that and actually make it a PRO, pass first option, think pass first. Again, nobody's changed it, but we just changed the thinking for the quarterback. So here's some examples of that. Here's your power. Again, we're going to go right to the H-back, backside guard leads through, H digs that out. Real simple, and then there's our RPOs where we're picking on that Sam linebacker as the backer that's unaccounted for in the blocking scheme, and we'll replace him with a glance or a skinny post. The counter then, like I said, is again, if they're heavy to the H, is we can come with a counter tray. We're using the same kind of concept in the RPO. Now we've got two receivers there. And then the complement would be the sweep. Again, we've got good edges, so now we can go ahead and look at pinning with that H-back and pull the uncovered lineman. Everything looks the same initially to the defense. There's your three plays or that triangle in one that you're looking to call those out of those three the best fit against that defense each play. Step 4, we also want to have balance then, just like in our inside-outside RPOs, with our pocket and our rollout. We want to be able to move that launch point with our quarterback. I like to start with the 4 verticals with our pocket pass. Again, we talked about horizontal stretch with our alignments out of that 2x2 or 3x1, and now we're going to get vertical stretch with our 4 verts. It's a natural complement, great against a one-high safety. Then to move the pockets where we can scaffold concepts is we'll take that pin and pull sweep and we'll run, again, it's like a wing T sweep. The natural complement to that is wing T, waggle, play action pass. Again, using the same blocking scheme, just the linemen don't go downfield. So there we'll be able to move the launching point as we go. Here's some examples of that. Here's your 4 verts or giants or go. Again, this would be an ace left, so you can get that maximum stretch horizontally by alignment. Now we get the vertical. We can go to a 3x1, and this is where you can scaffold things. The still basic concept of 4 verticals there, but now we say about when we go to a 3x1 set, the H has to go 3 over, back over to his 1 to his hash. You can add choice concepts or fin routes, but again, the core of the concept, it's still a 4 vertical concept. We want to move that launch point, but we want to scaffold again, concepts or teaching. We're going to use that same pin and pull blocking scheme with now faking the sweep away and waggle again to the outside. We're moving the launch point, but the linemen are using the same blocking concepts. Again, scaffolding up techniques. Number 5, key that we have built-in blitz beaters, and we simplify that. Again, the first thing we can do is simply go to an alert, and all that does is tell the quarterback in these RPOs to reverse his thinking from an R run first to a pass first type concept. The next thing we do is scaffold this outside zone blocking that you do for your run plays is the same protection thing blocking scheme we use for our sprint out. And as I mentioned before, with our waggles, our pin and pull sweep for our waggle is the same blocking. The last thing we love to do is we're a big SPO or screen pass option team, which naturally fits into your RPO concept. What we do with it is we actually use one blocking scheme for the lineman and simply change the timing from quick to fast to slow. And then you can get into crossing concepts. I'll show you an example of what Ohio State does then too. Great blitz beaters in your core concept. So here would be some examples. Here's the power play that we showed before. We simply give the alert call to the quarterback, and now he's still reading the SAM, but he steps in at all. We go ahead and think pass first. Great blitz beater concept. Same thing with our sweep. Now we're going to go run routes to the backside, what we call a hot over and a glance route. Again, the mic starts to come blitz heavy in the will. We can throw back and fill there. All we have to do is tell the quarterback alert, and he can think pass first. Turns into a great quick pass without linemen getting downfield illegally. Again, we talked about moving the launch points. Your outside zone blocking, same thing here. We're going to now do with a sprint out pass. A great snag concept right there. Very simple, very sound. Move the pocket. Really a long handoff, we like to call that. And then in your read screen game, here's an example of your core SBO. This would be a fast version, what we call, where we have a read still, just like RPOs, where we've got a swing screen here reading that SAM. But if we don't like it, we come back with a smoke or tunnel screen. Again, the linemen, your tackles are going to stay big, but your guard, center guard, or the pullers, and this will be the same for all the screens through. We just change the timing. And then if you want to, here would be an example of a mesh concept that Ohio State has a ton of success with. I prefer to go hots and let the back free release to beat blitzes versus bring in more protectors. Number 6, the way to make this all work is to go back to that triangles I talked about and to do practice in situationals using the triangles. So what we're going to do is, instead of long team periods, everything's broken into 5-minute team periods. You'll take one situation, for example, let's work 3rd and 5s here for 5 minutes. You'll take what are those fronts, what are those covers, and what are those blitzes that you're going to see that week. And you don't do everything, you do 1 or 2 of them, the core ones you're going to see the most. And then you take the 3 plays that you are going to run against those defenses and in that situation in your game plan. And you just rep those. The nice thing is your offensive line coach can go ahead and coach from the defensive side of the ball, set the defense, still be coaching the O-line, and then you as the play caller can call from the sidelines and get practice at calling the plays adjusted by the defense's alignment. You don't have a play script here, but you practice actually calling this triangle offense system, and you also then can go really fast, okay, in 5 minutes. And then you change the situation in the next period. Again, it all comes back to these 3 principles. We're always looking for a numbers advantage, okay? Again, if you got 2 high safeties, you know you've got 7 potential men in the box. If you have 1 high safety, 8. The other thing we look for then is those outside hanging linebackers. We come down to the 2nd level. If we have access to throw to the receivers, then we know we're in a good alert situation. If they're spread out and covering them, then we know we have no access to throw, but we have good numbers in the box. With angles, then, we're trying to find first, I like to think outside, inside. So we look for a good edge. If we've got that, then your sweep is there. If not, then we can go to that normal triangle example we showed, power, or we can counter tray away from the H. Last, we're always putting our speed into the field, and if we can get speed in space, that wins over scheme. Here's some examples of what I just talked about. Let's say sweep is your priority play. You go up and look and see if you've had it. If you got good numbers and it's balanced, then you stay with it. If not, you got bad edge. We're going to look to power right at that H-back, looking for good angles there. Again, if we don't have that, where we've got bad numbers, bad angles, we just come over to the counter tray away from it. So you can see you can set things up where you have, here's your principles, there's your priority play and what you're looking for. But then this would be the complement number 2, complement number 3, and then again, with all the RPOs, you automatically have the alert call with a built-in blitz beater to go basically pass first and turn it into a quick pass. So again, here's your sweep, priority play number 1, good edge, good numbers, take it. Bad edge, we can go ahead and look at angles and go power, so we go inside. Bad numbers, bad edge, we'll come back counter tray away. And then last, all of it, we're seeing blitz, okay? We go to the alert, and we've got natural quick passing game built right into it, blitz beaters. So again, hopefully that explains the design of the system and the steps and simplifies how something really complicated can work together and be very simple in an offensive system. Thanks.